Hey there everyone, today is a very unique and exciting day because today we have our first official guidance directly from Disney regarding social distancing in one of the parks. There has been a lot of speculation about the unique environment that we're going to be in at the Disney parks when they reopen in the future, and a few days ago we got information about Shanghai Disneyland, but today is extra unique because the Vice President of Shanghai Disneyland, Andrew, brought news crews around the park while it's still closed to demonstrate what social distancing at a Disney park is going to look like. I wanted to share it with you today and give you a few of my thoughts as we watch it together, but I want to start off before we even get into the video and mention that this is in China. This is a very different situation than what we're going to see in the United States. These are clues as to what we're going to see, but in terms of the spacing, 1 meter versus 6 feet, there are going to be differences in the United States, but this is our first official information from Disney in terms of video for the future. Let's jump into it. The video starts off right at the entrance to Shanghai Disneyland. That's that checkpoint.
Hello everyone, welcome to Shanghai Disney Resort.
You can see it's already unique with the barriers right there.
Shanghai Disney Theme Park will reopen to public on May 11. Today, let us follow Andrew, the Vice President of the operations of Shanghai Disney Resort.
Here we go.
To see all the details of preparation.
So at this stage,
there's Andrew. He's VP of Shanghai Disneyland.
Screening, and they would have already shown their health QR code. And so now
that health QR code is unique. It's a self and it's through the government. It's very interesting.
So this is our cast members here, and Michelle is going to be our demonstrator here. So I'll let her take you through it.
And they're holding up a sign there in explaining how the QR code works, and they kind of skipped through that one.
But what I wanted to showcase here are, again, the markers on the ground for social distancing.
Look at that. Very interesting how they did that.
So we did various studies with our guests and observations, and we found it was easier to tell the guests where not to stand and then leave the empty space where they can stand.
It's so smart. So instead of actually standing on the squares, you stand in the brick between the squares. I would imagine we will see something like this at Walt Disney World. You know, it's something that they're going to have to coordinate with these little barricades. These little barricades they have right there, the snake barricade with the little walls there. They're going to have to do that at Walt Disney World security checkpoints. But and I'm sure there'll be cast members too.
Reminding our guests to maintain
reminding everybody. But this is something I envision at Walt Disney World for sure.
Thank you.
Now, I know that the distance is smaller, but this is China. In the United States, it will be different, but this is just an idea of what we're going to see.
So, again, now the next step is for the guests to arrive, to redeem their ticket, but also to present their
even between security, look at this, between security and where you present your ticket, there's that tape barricade as well where no one stands on those little orange and yellow squares right there. Can you see that bottom left up? It's faded right there. But you get the idea.
So in order to maintain social distancing for our characters, we won't be having any up-close meet and greets. But what we want our guests to be
I figure that we're not going to have any of that at Walt Disney World either.
Our favorite Disney friends, get a chance to take photos of them. So we're looking for new creative ways to present our characters.
It's smart. It's a smarter way. And we still want to see the characters, but we can't give them a hug. So, and that'll probably be that way for a while.
A small
I think it's Tron back there.
A couple of floats with characters on them that'll come out again throughout the day.
So he said throughout the day. It's a very interesting thing about it. You think of the mouse key dance. Very interesting. That's a parade I'd love to see in the future, in person, Shanghai Disneyland, in the future now, but really cool. There's Donald. Oh, I missed the characters. Oh, I missed the characters. Didn't realize the songs would still be in English. Wow. Learning something new every day, clearly. Oh, I miss it. All right, here we go.
So, we can just stop here for a second just to show you on the ground some different types of markers we're using. So this area, if you're familiar, we do a character atmosphere show called Tai Chi with Donald Duck.
Tai Chi. I want to see
And
this
so the
Tai Chi
performers
with
perform
Donald
in the
Duck.
center here,
That sounds cool.
and we've created a viewing area where, again, each party would now, in this configuration, stand within the yellow box.
It's the yellow box.
And so each
It's
yellow
hard to
box
see.
is 1 meter separated from each other.
So it's 1 meter. That's different than what we're seeing here in the
So it
United
just
States, and
provides
I
a very
wonder
simple
how that's
way
going to change it for
clearly
us. There's the
inform our guests
boxes.
where to stand, create that distance, and then once it fills up, we'll ask other guests to come back for the next performance. But with our limited number of attendees per day, we believe everybody will have a chance to see almost everything.
Those yellow
they want
boxes,
to
yeah,
see.
they still look kind of close for
As
what
walking around,
we're
you can
doing in
see
the
that
United
we've got
States.
markers positioned
So
even
again,
in the
different,
food
but
kiosks
gives you
here.
an idea.
So every
See there,
location
okay.
where we start to build queues, we're going to make sure that we have social distancing markers available.
That's going to be critical, but there are so many different queue areas. Like even on that fence there, you saw that. There are going to be tape lines everywhere, everywhere. So being able to know exactly what they mean is going to be absolutely critical.
For the Castle Stage Show, Golden Fairy Tale Fanfare.
Oh, sorry. So the stage show, not the fireworks. They did mention in their press release,
be able to stand
fireworks
in
will
their
not be
individual
happening.
boxes 1
That's
meter
what the
apart from each
original
other.
information was. And I'd imagine, so this is for the stage show.
So as I mentioned, we'll
That's a
have
big
cast
castle.
members throughout the park doing continuous wiping down, sanitizing, and disinfecting. all
Now they
the
already
high-touch
do this. They
surfaces.
already
So
do
this
wipe
is
down the
of our
trash
custodial
cans and
cast members
such,
right
but
now.
I would imagine it's going to be just like non-stop, just circling, wiping down, circling.
All right. So anyhow, so we're at the entrance of the attraction.
Crystal Grotto. Attractions
So
we'll
have cast
experience one
members At the
day.
entrance of every attraction, reminding our guests to maintain social distance in the queues. Okay.
There was English underneath that sign. Did you see that? It was very interesting.
So if you look on the left, as you enter in on the railings, you'll see yellow markers. That's
Here we
where
go.
we're gonna
It's
ask our
the
guests to
queue line markings.
stand with at the markers.
You see the yellow tape right there.
So each party stands at one of these yellow marker lines. And again, we'll have cast members in the queues.
See, that looks like even more space to me. Just that looks like more space than the 1 meter they were talking about. But that's any amount is good.
And do not stand here symbols. That's an indicator to pass through this area. Don't stand in there because what happens is you would end up with guests too close to each other in side-by-side queues. So
The
we have an area
switchback.
where we block it off.
Okay, so you see how one kind of comes down, the other one goes. The left-hand side goes down. This one's coming down. This one's coming down again. Very interesting. So you wouldn't be standing side by side with anyone. So that area is totally blocked off. Very interesting. So it'd be like pods, like move forward, okay, and then move forward. Like you have to walk through a certain area, so you don't stand shoulder to shoulder with someone else. Very, very interesting.
Okay.
Now this looks like almost like in Disneyland, the boats. Those boats are so nice. This is going to be, here we go.
We would normally fill all the seats and even the middle bench in between. But as you can see, as the boats pull up, what we've done is we've put markers on all the rows, all the benches, to indicate where your seat is.
Absolutely critical.
And then if they don't have markers, that's not a place to sit. So it's really reducing the capacity significantly on the ride.
Look at
but
that.
allowing that social distancing, which is what's most important at this stage.
So the middle bench will not be filled at all, and those secondary areas will be where you sit. But it's hard to tell. Do you sit in the square and then leave a square between you and the next guest? I would imagine that they'll actually be telling you
So
as
can
you
see
get on the
first boat
ride.
how a group loads.
That would be my guess.
Everyone just be careful on the edge of the dock here.
Very interesting. And I would equate this to Jungle Cruise quite a bit. I think we're going to see something like this or something for the Jungle Cruise. We'll see something where it's you probably won't be sitting in that middle area and also spacing out. So this is just kind of a clue for the future. Again, the amount of space is going to vary. It definitely will, but it's a good insight into the future. Here's Pirates.
Next attraction we want to showcase the queue and the loading area for. So we'll wait here at the beginning for everybody.
And there are those squares again right there by the entrance where you don't stand in the square. You don't stand in the square. I think it was such a smart way to do it.
Because Pirates of the Caribbean has many different rows, has 6 rows. Each row is a little bit closer than 1 meter, so we want to go ahead and separate out more than that.
See, but here's my thing. Standing right
so
there,
we'll use every other
a lot of people are like
loading
grouped together.
vehicle.
That's going to have to be another part of the process here in the United States. At the very end, I'm sure this was just for demonstration purposes, but right there at the end, one family comes up, they go to their seats, and then the next family comes up. So it's going to be something else that they're going to have to, I'm sure, work with. But look at this. They're separated by, so there's a whole row between different families. Very, very interesting to see. And all these groups are together. So those 3 in front, 3 in the middle, 3 in the back, they're all together. Oh, then look at the second row, or the third row of the second boat where they're one on one on 2 different sides of the boat. That's a really good method that they're using there. So it's good to see. At Disney World, the queues, I'm thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean and that queue there. It's a very, the walkway, you'll have to, it just will slow the ride down in general. Like we'll see a slowdown of the entire attraction because it's usually very, very quick, But now we're gonna have to wait for the next party to catch up and catch up and catch up. So it'll be interesting to see how they implement it. But this is that first-hand look into something like Pirates of the Caribbean, which I think, see, those benches are very close together. So I would imagine maybe even more than a bench apart at Walt Disney World and Disneyland. So these look like they have more space, but tough to know from here. Tough to know. We're getting insight, a little bit of insight from this one. They're holding on this shot for a little bit here, thinking about when they'll be going. But this is all for photography purposes. They want to hold it there for a second, make sure that the media has their chance to look at everything there in China. There they go. See, every row, every other row is empty.
Experience on Pirates of the Caribbean. To wipe your hands with hand sanitizer.
Oh, good.
Again, we have.
Oh, good. See, hand
sanitizer out here.
Everywhere.
Okay.
We're gonna see.
So you can see it on the walls.
We're gonna see hand sanitizer all over the place. No doubt about it. And I think that. I know in China they're using the pump bottle version, but in the United States, I 100% believe it's going to be the touchless version. We already saw the touchless version before we left Disney World. So the fact that they're putting this here, it's just an example of we're going to see a ton more. Maybe the hand washing stations too.
Yo, all right, okay.
Now they've already discussed how in the shops people are going to have to be social distance.
Other exits from the
he just said exceed the values, meaning that if it becomes too full,
we're able to just control access for a limited period of time until people cycle through.
Guests are going to be able to go through a separate exit. They're going to actually have a separate exit in case the store is too full. That's really good. That's going to be helpful. The sound cut out here. It wasn't us. It was a sound cut out. But it was interesting to see them. They're walking around, but you don't see any other queue lines outside. So in China, they must have most of the queues already inside, which is very, very helpful. But we'll say something like Buzz Lightyear, for example. Like we'll see more of those queues forming outside because a lot of the queue is outside. So it's good to know. Oh, there's some queue outside. It's a good example there. Cast members with signs and directions going to be absolutely critical, no doubt about it. And you look at the yellow tape right there, where that looks like is that a dining experience? It looks like it.
Okay, good. Okay, great.
Yes.
So with the restaurants,
Good you see
we
that.
want to
Okay.
maintain social distancing in here. That's the #1 priority, along with enhancing the.
That's a big part of it. It's a big part of it.
What we're doing is we're planning no more than 50% of our seating capacity available. So that'll be the regulating.
That looks like a lot of. That looks like more distance to me. Those yellow tape lines. That looks good.
Again, with lower attendance levels at the beginning, we don't foresee very many queues at all. But
interesting. They don't foresee
if we do have
queues.
We're prepared. So if we have to control access into the restaurant, we will leverage the exterior areas for some queues before they enter in. So you can see again the yellow markings on the ground as guests enter into the restaurant. Okay, so let's go inside. Oh, sorry.
Very interesting restaurant there. Lots to look forward to in the future when we go. Still something to smile about. I'm telling you, this is important updates to keep us all safe, but still something to smile about because we can look forward to it.
Reminding you about social distancing.
Yep, good. So we can expect a lot. And look at how many hand sanitizers, one on each side there. That is a lot. Oh my gosh, look at that tape.
So for the queuing for where you pick up your food, because this restaurant you actually pick up your food first and then you pay.
Huh.
What we plan is, again, to leverage the queues that we already have, but because they're tight, what we've done is we've created areas that guests cannot stand in to make sure that we keep 1 meter or
That's
so
very
separation
interesting.
between the different groups.
Because see that the two sides of the rope barrier, you actually can't get halfway into the
Here
rope
behind
barrier.
the
They're
line.
very,
So,
very smart.
Again, an area where you do not stand, and then you would come over here.
That's very interesting to see. So there's that square that you can't walk in and the yellow tape, so that you kind of stay behind the yellow tape and you walk through. Very interesting. We'll definitely see that at all the quick service that are open and all the table, table service will be separated, I'm sure, but quick service will look like that.
So similar to merchandise, after you do cash handling, again, we're encouraging contactless payments, but some people may have cash, some people may have.
I imagine by contactless payment they mean Apple Pay and such, or something like that.
Use the sanitizer here too on a continuous basis.
That's the hope. Okay.
You can see it says for your health and safety, this table is unavailable.
Very, very helpful. See, there it is. So they're gonna have tables that are empty.
So what the intention would be is nobody sits here, somebody sits here, and we alternate to keep that social distancing throughout the area.
And then between people sitting down, I would be totally shocked if they didn't have someone cleaning every single time, like between guests. So I think that they probably will, and we'll likely see that in Walt Disney World as well.
Yeah, so during the preparation
Here's the end of the
period
interview
for the reopening, what we've done is really look at a lot of different measures to make sure that we can deliver a safe and healthy environment within the park.
There we go.
So it starts with ensuring that we have an audience that is able to come with limited numbers to make sure that we can deliver on social distancing. So we are holding back on the number of attendees in the park.
It's going to be part of Disney World too.
Within the park, we're trying to ensure social distancing through a variety of methods, many of which you've seen, which are the markers on the grounds, limiting the number of people inside our locations, and those kinds of methods.
And there they are, just finishing up here, but you can see that all these methods are already in place and they're ready for the guests who are going to be there, and they're going to hold the attendance down. Very, very interesting to see all of these methods in place. Now, I do want to reiterate and say that this is in China. This is not in the United States. So it's going to be slightly different in the United States, no doubt about it at all. But this gives us a little bit of insight into what it might look like. We'll definitely see the distance and security lines in terms of lines for food. All lines that you have, we'll definitely see distance like that, whether it's tape markings or something else. We'll have to wait on that. I would imagine it probably will be tape. The fact that they already they know about the switchback, where you go from this side of the line to the other side of the line, and you won't stand shoulder to shoulder with anyone. Another great factor there, and it goes on from there. In my opinion, this is all welcome news. Disney is getting prepared in advance. They want to make sure they have every precaution available to make sure that guests are safe on Disney property. That's a quick look into what Shanghai Disneyland looks like today and what it's going to look like for the days and weeks to come. Let me know in the comments below if you think that these same measures are going to be here in the United States, or if we're going to have a little bit more than this, a little bit less than this, totally different. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me today. Until next time, have a magical day.